Hopefully this sounds okay. Hello. Um. Right. Hello and welcome. This is the first time I've done this on the channel. Yeah, we've got some dwarves to paint up. Yeah, get started on that. So give us a shake. We'll see how long we go. It's probably only going to be a 2 to 3 hour stream. I do tend to get lost in the sauce a bit before I do this. So, oh. We'll just get started. So this game, I'm going to plan for these guys. I will not just show. All mic. Yeah, so the basic idea do something similar to these guys. Yeah. So there. Yeah, so we can see we got nice blue sleeves, basic silver, nice yellow trim around. These are skull past dwarves, so they're a little less detailed than the ones I'm about to paint. So the theme is yellow and green, and then blue, yellow, and then what does that leave? Green and blue. And we'll just sort of alternate between that. See, so all the shields, the panels are going to be blue. We've only got 2 shields today, and then they're going to have different borders. So this guy's a gold border, and there's other ones that have silver borders. So we're going to just match that up. But yeah, these models are a bit more detailed. These are the warrior kit dwarves. So might not need to paint this orange as much because they were done with a darker base coat. But yeah, so with 5 guys here, we'll try and get through it. See how well we do. Generally for dwarves, it's a good idea. Get all the unifying colors out. So these 2 are gonna have their blue done, and then skin tone beards, all the fun stuff that comes with painting a dwarf. Start with some nice silver. Got all our paints over here. We grab one as we need. But yeah, let's get started. So start with nice silver. So they're all gonna have silver. Well, grey metal. I'll try to show as best as I can, but I'm probably just gonna show you afterwards because I have to look. Be engaging too much with the chat, just if there's any messages and I don't respond immediately. With me. Yeah, so start with silver. Silver's going to be across all these guys. If I get these to the standard where I'm on the base coating stage, maybe have a look at some of the other models that I want to get sort of through. There's not a whole lot of silver on this, which obviously is going to be as hard to see. Models are grey, but got his little mail coat done there. We've only got the axe and the helm to do, and that's going to be it. We can maybe give him a silver border on his shield. Be the first one. Next will be the axe. Again, silver on grey, so it's kind of hard to see. I'm not surprised if it doesn't show up in the camera. See how we do. I'm relatively confident in my own ability. I do have was a LinkedIn. That's not the right website. I do have an Instagram, where I put some of my paintings up. So if you like Warhammer mini stuff, I recommend checking out my Instagram. I need to post more stuff to it. I have a lot of minis that I've finished that I haven't posted to Instagram yet, but I'll probably do that at some point after this. So the trick to mini painting, just kind of knowing when you can and can't be messy. We can be, because this is the first layer, the first paint that we're putting on it, we can be really messy with it and don't have to worry too much about getting it anywhere. And you tidy up as you go, generally, is my kind of style. A lot of people maybe tell you not to be. The more careful you are, the less work you have to do, obviously. But no reason not to be quick with the start anyway. You should get your base coats down first. So identify what color you want to do. So for me, all these dwarves have a silver color for all the metal that they're going to be wearing. We want to get that done first. We can be messy with it. We can get it on people's skin. I just got a little bit on this guy's cheek. But we'll be painting over that with white paint later anyway, so it does not matter. Be as messy as we need, we tidy it up later. Get the helmet done. Let me know if the music's too loud. This is the first time I've streamed with background music on. That looks like it's made of leather. Okay. Then he's got beard. I think that's his beard. It's his beard. Okay, so we can come back and then do a silver trim around the shield later. We could do it now, actually. Tidy it up. Yeah, you know what? Save some time. We'll do it now and then tidy it up. Try to keep it on. It's a bit hard to get a good camera angle with this, but anyway. A bit hard to tell. That's spilling. Because I have such a light base coat on, even if I hold it right next to my eyes, it's actually impossible to tell what silver is. There we go. Coming off nice. Nice thing about Citadel paints is most of the time they're good to go straight out of the pot. Not a whole lot of what if we just change the camera? I'm scared of disconnecting it. See. There we go. Yeah. Silver sort of hard to see even in real life. Kind of hard to tell. Bring that up, make sure I got everything. Yeah. See, his axe is done. I have to hide it behind the chat box. Axe is done. Shield is done. His wee helmet's done. Fur coat is done as well. There's no other. Tiny's good to go. Wet the brush, dry the brush, repeat. I'll try my best to keep the models in frame, but I will. The temptation to bring it right up to my terrible eyeballs will be too great. Ooh. So once I get all the silver done, we'll split them out randomly and then figure out who's getting blue, who's getting yellow, and who's getting green. I have 20 of these guys to paint, so after this there'll be 15. And because these are rank and file guys, don't need to be careful about the overall quality. We'll probably go base coat, wash, and then finish up with a light layer just to kind of highlight some of the stuff. But rank and file guys generally don't get a lot of focus whenever people sort of look at your army. You can just kind of skip it. Oh, that's a good word. So they have these. Oh, nope, this way. There we go. I'm looking at two different screens. They have these little like bracelets on. Sometimes they're metal, sometimes they're leather. I think it's just ultimately what you want them to be. So, like the sort of solidy ones, probably slightly better to have them leather. But this one has a little like bangle on it. You can paint that silver and then have the rest of his kind of cuff be leather. A little bit here we can just do. Anyway, his weapons come out nice. We started his coat there, and I got it back. So he's not wearing a cloak. Yeah. So these are really nicely textured, so whenever we put the wash over it, all the little holes will fill in with nice black paint. It'll look like I've actually done the effort and painted the recesses of the armor, but I haven't. I didn't use. Aha! That's kind of how painting goes. It's just you're trying to find an acceptable level of cheating. Whatever you sort of find acceptable. I like washes. I think washes are probably the best way to cheat in painting, especially mini painting. A little mail coat done. You can have a gold shield. So, you know what? We'll maybe try just to differentiate. We'll give him a bronze shield, but we'll do that later. Sorry, my big meaty hand's going to cover this just because I have to rotate it about. So I check. No, that's fine. Make sure the paint's still coming off the brush correctly. You don't want to be too slapdash. It is nice to be. Don't have to be too careful. Yeah, it needs. Base of his weapon, the silver. Need to get a lamp just to make a bit more light here, and then guard can also. Not a whole lot of planning goes into this. Generally, it's just sort of the rough idea of what color scheme I want. Dwarves, I really like dwarves whenever you come to painting them because apart from the actual militarized dwarves like these guys, the Ironbreakers, they're wearing like full plate mail and they'll have a more unified color scheme between them. But these guys, like the warriors, they're like guys that get conscripted in to the dwarf army, so they get more of a dollop of paint there. The warriors and the thunders and quarrelers, all the basic dwarf troops, they're all kind of levied troops, so they'll just have like whatever they have from their house, but they'll pick up and bring into battle, so it can be a bit more. When you're painting them, you don't have to have everybody have the same color coats and armor trim. It would be more like their individual clan colors would be what they would rep. Quite fun to paint them because you can differentiate your color scheme over, and it breaks up the visuals because dwarves quite. Whenever you read the lore, dwarves like quite drab colors, like they like brown, they like green. Tends to be what they do, and then you can sort of split that up with a bit of yellow and blue. Obviously you could put red in, but for the scheme for my army, red is like a guildsman's color, so the rank and file wouldn't really wear red. More like the tradesmen who would operate the machinery. Cannon crews and the engineers and stuff, they would all wear red. The theme I went for. I think it looks quite nice in the battlefields. Not a... Obviously, with... You're doing like a more uniform theme. Sorry, I'm being careful because I don't want to break up. I like this grey on the weapon. I'm going to try and keep that on just specifically for like the heft of the weapon that he's holding on to. So we're going to try and keep that. Little bands. Like going over a little bit. Or over too much, I should say. Those look like this guy might have an actual wooden heft. Dwarves don't like wood, so as well. I'll specify Warhammer Fantasy dwarves don't like wood at all. They would prefer not to have it in their weapons, so we want to try and avoid it. We're going to have this nice grey colour for the heft, I think. Either going to be sort of like a grey metal that he's used to heft his weapon, or he's painted a stick grey to make it look like stone or steel. Could be the lore maybe behind that. They always come up with the... Oh yeah, dwarves don't like using wood in their equipment. Then they have like wooden bump stocks on their fucking handguns. It's a bit... Never really seem to make up their mind too much on it. And dwarves are pretty much permanent enemies of all wood elves because they go into the forests of the old world and cut down trees. Pretty much deforest the whole area. They're effectively the dwarves are off balls. I got a bit of silver on his beard. Oh. They're effectively like the Isengard of the old world, where they just sort of go into an elven forest and tear the whole thing down to throw all the logs into the fires of their industry. We're going to differentiate this guy, but he's got some nice little cuffs. Ooh. Well, it's so bizarre moving the guy, but you can see his little like cuffs here. These. Quite nice, they look like metal. He's got two. Whoever bought it, I didn't build these models. But whoever built them didn't match the cuffs up very well. He's got like two different types of cuff on, but hey, whatever. Just that sassy. So yeah. Go over some of the stuff I want to get painted. So I have a few bits of dwarf stuff to get through. I have a gyro bomber, which would be good. I thought these guys would be easier to start with because this is the first time I've ever done a painting stream. So any feedback or anything that's bothering you, let me know, because obviously I've never done this before and I've no clue how it looks. I won't know until after. sort of recorded a little bit just to test stuff, and it looks okay to me whenever I was testing it, but obviously test is maybe like 2 minute or so recording. Nice. They have little leather straps on their helmet. Flaps that come out and they're usually made of leather. I can get them later whenever we do the leather step. Generally I like doing the unified colors, so like metal, leather. The cloaks are all going to be the same, I think. Well, maybe. I think there's 4 cloaks, only one of them didn't have a cloak. And the ones I grabbed anyway. Good, he's finito. I always miss a bit. The leather bit's probably going to be their shoes, and then sometimes they have these in their beards. There's like a little here. Wrap in his beard. They're usually leather. Sometimes they have them made out of metal. That you could easily paint the metal. My god, do I love dwarves. Especially Warhammer dwarves. They're so funny. And keep that. And apologies if I bring it up to focus on my face. Wet the brush. Dry the brush. Paint back. I see me do that a lot. I'm paranoid about the paint not coming off the brush, so you know what, just because we'll paint this. Also, you'll see me put quite a lot of paint on my thumb. Beardy bit. Don't have to be too careful with that. I'm gonna paint this beard later. And beard colors. I generally like brown, yellow, black. Beard colors. I don't like doing big ginger beards, because in Warhammer Fantasy I don't think, sure they maybe do, but I'm fairly certain that ginger dwarves aren't a natural thing in fantasy. Because that's why the Slayers, Warhammer Fantasy, all have orange beards. They've dyed their hair and their beard orange to mark that they're there. Relatively sure that they don't naturally have ginger hair, but wrong. Could be. Let's come there. So for the horns, the best way I find to do horns is either keep it grey like this, then put a wash over it to make it look like a bony horn color, or paint it white and do the same thing. Looks like a slightly lighter horn. Might try grey on these just to see how it looks. I don't remember if the ones I did before, like this guy's horns. Well, this guy's horns, I did those white, but he was a darker grey, so I had to paint it up. I think this lighter grey might, whenever we put the wash on, it might look quite nice. It'll look a little darker than his horns do, but we can try on one guy, see how it looks, and then decide to do it on more guys. Get a point on my. I might have had it a bit high up for a bit there. My monitor is on my table far to the right. comfy. There we go. A little watery, I need to dry. I always like to wet the brush before I will dry. Point slightly easier to keep. I do need new brushes, they're starting to fray a bit. Oh, I need to get a better mic stand because at the minute it is sitting in a roll of masking tape next to me. Focus there. I think my camera might just be going all mad with the focus, so apologies. You got one set of eyes, I can only see in. Like these little grims that they have everywhere. Try and keep a little circle in the middle. Right. There we go. One more to do with the silver and we're them. All coming together. It's a bit weird that the ones I picked at random, that 4 of them had capes. Much on the back for me to do. Ah, anyway. This is my biggest brush. Just keep saying, don't have to worry about being messy at the start. Always come back, tidy it later. A whole lot of paint here. Is X to do. You shouldn't have started with silver. Silver's a very hard color to see on the grey that I am painting over. I can the monitor is quite far away. I can't tell if it's even getting picked up. Oops. It was a bit silly. So this bit here, chat box. This bit here is a little like gem. Paint that silver because whenever we do that later, put some gem colors in it, and the silver, because it's a lighter highlight, will make the gem shinier. Paint that so it'll look quite nice. As I say, rank and file, you don't really care too much how nice they look at the end. Obviously you want like whatever your kind of individual standard is should be obviously what you're working towards, but rule of thumb for me, people aren't going to pick it up and look at it. You don't really need to worry too much about it. Get it to whatever standard you like and call it there. You're never going to get it perfect. Get it to the point that you're happy. Are done with the silver, post this. Check. I always get excited at the end. Do we want to give him steel cuffs? Get that. Oh, this is a hard color to tell in this gray. Yeah, I'll give him a silver cuff. Maybe just differentiate it. Maybe give one a silver and leather duo. Why not? Why not? Go. Boy there. Nice. Alright. So next, we can do brown pass, why not? Always give it a good shake. So you're getting the paint mixed up, nice. Go. So, should we do brown? Maybe we should do the colors of the underneath everything. You know what? Actually, we'll do. Got 3 colors that we're going to do for the clothes. I think we're going to do. I don't have 2 shield guys blue. 2 blue. I like the yellow more than I like the green, and then put that up. I can try and mix it up if I do stuff like this. Oh, maybe I need a slightly taller chair. It's starting to hurt my arm. Right, 2 seconds. Way better. Here we go. Oh yeah. The other chair was a little too short. Hurt my arm a bit. So we'll do blue first. These guys like clothing colors. But both the shields are going to be blue. Get all the silver off. So you can see this nice little crest in the middle of the shield. The rim, I have done silver for this guy. We don't need to be too worried about the crest because we can pick out the detail later. The rim is already painted silver. I don't really want to have to come back. Very careful whenever we're painting here. Find it's easier. Keep a sharp edge in your brush. Keep it sort of sharp like that. I'll help you get into the edges. But generally the way I oops. Gives you a bit more control. Putting the paint. Yeah, this chair's wood. Not in terms of comfort, it is starting to hurt. It's 6 inches taller than I was before. So there, you can see I wasn't too messy with the blue into the silver. That sharp flat edge. Next we'll do the other shield. So I haven't done the rim on this one, so I don't need to be as careful, but try a bit. I'm going to try a bronze color for the rim of his shield and the icon. Sort of, to me, it's good to split this up whenever you're doing dwarves. The silver, gold, and any other metal that you're thinking of, because it reflects the disparity in their wealth that they would have. Some families would have golden shields, more golden jewellery. I would always bring that into battle with them just to show how affluent they are. Or for the dwarves. Whenever you sort of split up your regiments like this, it's quite a good way to get that across that they're, you know, they're each their own little clanmen, and they all have their own little story going on. For these guys, we're going to give them nice blue sleeves. Could have done it on the other two, it didn't really matter. Then paint the This will just represent personal house colors more so. Maybe their individual clan, where they've been called from. This blue is very watery. We're using a nice Pantor blue for this. Nice rich blue, nice royal blue. Citadel colors, I do use some Vallejo stuff, but I generally like a little bit more. Mostly because it's what I started with. It was familiar to me. Other than Vallejo, I'm not as familiar with Vallejo. I've used it, I've painted some Infinity stuff with it. Might need another little. Very wet. Brush a lot of water on it. And next, this little guy. For the cloaks, I'm thinking either have a Vallejo dark green, which I think might look quite nice. So we have 4 cloaks to work with. Maybe do one. Test one with it. If it looks nice, we'll paint another one with it. Have 2 on the darker green. Lamb's green that we have. Then we can change the color. The overall color will look different. Pick the wash. My personal style is a little bit of a grimier style. I'd like to use dark washes. Bring the whole color down rather than just to get in the recesses. A little longer to wash the whole mini. Well, not necessarily the whole mini, but any color that you want to be washed, you have to wash it individually. Wash the mini. To affect the color, and it has quite a nice grimy look to it. Makes them look quite nice, I know. What I like to see in my grim dark fantasy setting. Quite well. My eyes. Nice little blue. Going out well. Shield's a little light looking. Darken that down a bit before we put the. And that's it for the blue, but we'll have a blue trim on there. We want to try to avoid swapping colors as much as possible, but it is unavoidable, so you will have to do it. Next, yellow. Yellow is a green trim. You guys will have shirts with it. Yellow is a very annoying color, but we have a nice light base coat. Yellow should go on very nice. Oh yeah, great. Brilliant. Brush is not drying very well. Got this smaller brush just to dry. Bit drier. The other arm will need a little pick me up. No, they'll need another coat on their arms, just the way yellow is. It's a bit of an annoying color. Like 2 or 3 coats for it. Isn't the worst to have some of the base coat poking through on a trying to do like a cloth effect, but whenever you try to do something where a metallic effect, generally you want the yellow paint to be a little thicker, so you 2 coats normally, 2 to 3. Depends on the paint. Quite a thin paint, so probably need 3. Probably 2 actually. 2 for cloth, 3 for anything that we give the illusion that they've been in them shells. One has metal cufflinks, so a good bit. Cool. We can use this same yellow, paint some of the beards up, and not to like painting. So because this guy's sleeves are right next to his beard, I don't like to have these guys be the same. I don't have any of the yellow bearded men being yellow bearded boys. Before we go back, we're gonna make sure everything's dry, so we're gonna trim guys' armor. I not 100%, but I think this is the color scheme. So the blue with yellow trim, sort of like with the. It's definitely Battle for Skull Pass. I think that's like a Karak Azul theme. Thork Ironbrow's army. 100%. Could be wrong. These guys. This is the trim for his armor. See. Ooh. Oh, I need to get this in 3D space. There's the metal, which is silver. Which is, again, this like gray cut undercoat isn't sort of hard to see camera. So we just want to get this nice little trim, yellow trim. But you can also see that there's another layer of trim here. What I might do is I might get some cavalry red Vallejo paint. Have that be a nice leather undercoat that they're wearing. But we'll see how I feel about it when we get to that board and do like a dark leather to differentiate from the shoes. The reason why is because their shoes are there and I like to paint them. Sure. Where is? Don't need to be center, but at least on screen. Put together. Any other? Use there. I really like the yellow and blue. I think probably my favorite dwarf. Two-tone. Very basic, but very nice. Voice trim. The brush is feeling a little dry. So I'd like to get a wet palette at some point to give that a go. It's something I've always sort of had on my radar. I just have a normal painter's palette next to me. Most of the time I just use the pots. Paint. Bit too. Generally like a bit of a drier brush. I'd be interested in giving that palette a go. This guy's trim. And under his armor here a little careful because I don't want to go get any yellow up. This is just one of those examples I said earlier. Be as messy as you want at the start. Go through, you need to be getting progressively more and more careful. Grey is very nice whenever you start doing colors. Dark enough that you wouldn't really notice it. Stick in there, I just need. Oh. Did that up, that was good. So here, need to flow. I do like these dwarf warriors, they're a little bit more detailed than the Pass boys. There's anything wrong with the Skull Pass boys, but they are shorter than like every dwarf by like a full head because they're all one solid lump. They're a little less detailed, and the detail tends to get a bit. Detail tends to get a bit stretched out. Whereas it quite a good sculpt. See. This guy down at the bottom of the coin, where it's like attached to his body. There. Stretched a bit. It looks a bit off. So they're all just one big solid lump of plastic, whereas these guys are. It's a kit that you actually put together physically. Details of it a little better on these guys. But it's a good thing that they do those starter sets, I think. Get those like nice little lesser detailed models to practice on. Not like there isn't. Some of the more professional kits don't have the same problem with this stretch. Quite thin here. Once again, yellow is my bane. I hate the S-pin. It looks nice, but hassle. Never ever does what you want and getting it to the right consistency. So there, we had it on the right consistency. Bit there. I just decided that it doesn't want to play ball anymore, which is just great. So it's all coming together. What we could do, just to break up the leather on the helmets, is we paint this bit here yellow. If you, yeah, if you ever make a mistake, you're quick enough, you can wipe it off. Finger. Be enough color behind the. Leave anything that will come through in any other layers that you do. And because this trim is yellow, we want to try to avoid having him blonde. Look very good. You have to use like a different wash. I mean, it can look alright, but or let anybody tell you that what you're if you like something, especially when it's art. Let anybody tell you it's bad. You need to say instead as it could be better. It's the passive aggressive way to deal with artists. My art good? Could be better. My painting good? Could be better. I have an artist mad. Go. This little bit. The wash will pick out a lot of detail. It'll hide a lot of mistakes. So if you accidentally do brush onto like the metal, depending on how dark the wash you do, so a yellow wash tends not to be that dark because you're using yellow, quite a light color. But I'm going to use a black wash on quite a lot of this. Null oil is the goat for washes. Adds a lot to grimify your mini. You want to look dirty, use Agrax Earthshade. You want to look, you've been fighting for a while and you have well prepared gear, you use null oil. Because that black is just black goes with everything, so if you're ever in doubt for what color wash to use, just use the black one. Grey washes, I mean, you could use a grey wash. The problem is that you're using a grey or a white for washing, it'd end up making your model look a bit chalky. Because the color you're trying to put over the top is lighter than the color below, whereas you want the color below to be lighter generally than the color that you're washing with. So black is going to be darker than every color, so it'll always work. Red is probably most of the time red would probably work. This guy's once over here. Brush sort of struggling to have. If the paint isn't coming off the brush, you need to wet your brush. If the paint's coming off your brush too much, you need to dry your brush. Rules that Sun Tzu said that. I think he knows a little more about painting than you do, pal. Fuck, this is too watery. I mean, yellow is the bane of my existence. Done. I think generally here is like the best place to hold it. It's nice and close. Apologies, I'm still trying to figure out a lot of the logistics of this record because it's too fucking wet. The right consistency. It is. Fucking hell, I should test on my thumb. I'm getting too impatient. I'm nervous. Not performing. I'll remember to link the music that I got in the background. It's just someone did like a conversion for a bunch of WoW songs. He converted them into lo-fi themes. I think the Arthas one by Towards the Start is very good. This one's good too. I like it. Just link. I might just make the playlist I'm using public and then link them. But it's the same guy. It's bits and can't see it now. I'll link it in the description once the stream is over. It's quite nice. Well, this is like this STV. The elf themes, not the STV. Got like some weird bandage here, so we maybe could paint this silver and then these leather, but I think the whole thing leather might look. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And then you're blue and green, so you either of these colors. We could paint your beard, but I generally like to do the beards with Earthshade wash. Generally a bit better for most. If you're doing white or grey, then obviously using black wash than on oil. But yeah, generally Earthshade for the browns and the yellows make them look quite nice. Might need to touch up the yellow on some of these guys, but I think that I don't know why I put the blue again. Hit next green. So I'll do the pot green first. Actually no. Vallejo heavy black or heavy black green gold. We'll give it a go. Don't know how different it is from El Caliban green. To me, it looks almost identical, but slightly different. Generally, if you hold the paint upside down, it's a little lighter. Camera, it's a bit clear. In real life, that is not as clear. Then again, maybe my eyes are terrible. I'm just relying on the camera to help me. I'm not going to use a whole lot of this. Vallejo just on the palette. This isn't the table, by the way. This is the palette. I'm just going to paint one guy's cloak color. This guy, because it should look nice with him. I'm holding this guy slightly funny just because I don't want to stick my elbow in the paint. Should look a little different. For him on his armor, it'll be a little lighter. Cloak. Alternatively, what I could have done is had him with the other colored cloak. Might have looked nice. I want to see how this looks, so test this out. And in future, any other guys this we can. This body must have been one solid chunk. There, well, maybe you can't see, but it looks like it's all his cloak is like actually physically connected to his armor and his feet. It's a fairly old kit. I think the 90s. Generally, a lot of these plastic kits are from like the late 80s, early 90s. Very late 80s, mid. All these kits. One of them. I'm almost positive the Skull Pass set came out in the 90s or early 2000s. It was like the newest warrior kit that they had. And that is the I'm almost sorry. It's the Iron Forge music and lo-fi. It's very appropriate. Yeah, the Battle for Skull Pass stuff. So I'm pretty sure that all coincided with Thoric Ironbrow model, the Doom. Why I think quite a lot of the color schemes that came out for Dwarves are specifically for Arc Azul, other than Krazakrak. Krazakrak would have been the earlier themes for Dwarves, would have been for them. I think it's a predominantly blue theme. I think there's maybe a bit of red in it. Especially when it comes to like royalty and stuff. We could have given these guys red cloaks, but again, these aren't royals, these are warriors. So these are literally just like farmers and craftsmen that have been drafted to come and fight. They would just have quite common colors, and then very few of them, if any, would have gold. Oh, the gold they bring, they were probably given. That's their. Oh, pardon me. A lot of the gold the warriors would have on them, like the grims and stuff that they would have, and any like trinkets that they've tied to their weapons. Sometimes even the weapons would have been supplied by whoever it is bringing them into battle. Dwarven Grim is like a little stallion. I'm trying to see if this guy has any. This guy has a bunch. These those little metal things. So these little things here. Two more there, and then he's got one hanging off his weapon. They're called Grims. They're like physical oaths that guy's made for battle. So it's like killing so many, enemies that whoever it is has drafted him in. So in his case, because he's a skull past dwarf, it would stay in. So that's his cape. Not a bad color, but it does. I can't really. I know it's a bit lighter, but it does look very similar to the green that I have. So what we can do is we can use a different wash on the cloaks. So use the same base coat, a different wash, and it'll make the color look different. So you can give that a go. Don't need that palette right now. So what was I doing? Green. This is Caliban green. This is the Dark Angels color green for their base coat and their armor. These guys is going to be their. So actually, we can get a side by side of the actual. Yeah, it's identical. It's the same color. Fuck. Okay, so I didn't need to bother with that. Good to know though, because I can use that for. I run out. There's a fair amount in that pot, but the Vallejo stuff should keep longer. We'll use a different wash for the cape. Finish up trim. I think the other guy, green trim, won't have a cape anyway, but I think in future I'll probably give these guys leather capes, just a bit of a mistake. See how nice it looks, but I won't be replicating it. Alright, so that's their trim done. Wait, did I get his trim? No, not yet. His trim done. Oh, this guy does have a cape. We'll give him a leather cape then. Little hood and everything. Whenever we get around to it, there's a big dollop of paint. If you ever see a big dollop of paint in your brush, make sure you wipe it off. Happens to me more than I care to admit. Real issue for sure. Sure. Weird getting in that angle. Focusing now. Careful going in and out. Green won't really affect his beard color because if we brown beard, any sort of green that's ended up in his beard. Wash will sort of think. Okay, so it looks like he has a little shoulder trimmed up. There. On this. Yeah. There we go. Carefully, very carefully. Do not want to fuck up the there. Rest. Okay. And then next is this guy's shirt. Green shirt. You'd maybe have a green cloak. I think that should. Kind of hoping that that green was a little darker. I have. You know what? We can maybe try a different shade of green. How about in a second? Sort of split up the green. You don't want it all to be the same. Oh, raining. Green is a nice color, just very easy with. These guys, I think I'll just give them both. Oh, he's not. Okay. This guy then can have this nice green color. And I'll go get a different shade of green. Guy's cape. Won't take very long, he doesn't have a very cape. Sort of just washing. But it'll look nice. Be fussed. You could just grab some Bell Tan green in the wash. Actually looked quite nice. Must have been this big solid lump, which makes me think this is probably a 90s, early 2000s model, because that's kind of how they did the plastic. Around that time was just one big, the body and the back and the top and the arms were all just one lump. Maybe look up. It was good. The workshop aren't very bright. They always wonder, killed fantasy because they couldn't figure out why people weren't buying models for it. Their logic was, well, they have all the kits. Instead of just going, oh, well, get the kits and new stuff. Improve the overall health of the game. They went, oh, we'll just axe every line that we have at the minute and then make new models so people buy to play. Don't like Age of Sigmar, at least the new edition. I liked 2nd edition Sigmar, it was good. A lot of fun, I enjoyed it. Got really into it. I played in... Originally I played Dwarves and Vampire counts. Then I sort of went full into the Vampire counts. Had a little small dwarf army. And then mained Vampire counts in Fantasy, and then Sigmar happened. I bought a bunch of stuff for that. And then bought the book for Vampire Counts, the first Soulblight Gravelords book. And then a month later they axed, or they didn't axe it, but they started 3rd edition, and 3rd edition was trash, and my book was unplayable. From then I've never bought another. Yeah, this should... Try this. This is a new paint I've got, so this is unopened. So you maybe can't see, but I do have my next project after Dwarves will be Wood Elves. So I have some Wood Elf stuff. And I've got over on the other side, I've got the start box, the battalion box for them. A little bit of kit bashing to do, but you can see. Kind of hard to see, but on the base of this guy, actually, you know what? I have a black. You're here. These little green stuff piles, green piles. I have a rolling pin that I got. Little thing here. It's textured. It has like a little cobblestone texture, so I've been adding little green stuffed cobblestone roads to the base of my little wood elves that I have based up. That's gonna look quite nice whenever it's all coming together. Well, hopefully I have some test models to see how it goes. Sometimes the rolling pin didn't work very well. You have this like a big blob on her base of like greenstone stones, green stuff stone. Guy has like the worst, I think. It's like a full centimeter almost of green stuff just piled up at the edge. It's disgusting. But I did figure it out, and I've got it somewhere down. So some of the heroes are gonna have like funny looking. This is a first time open for this. This is a fresh open, so hang on. To the mic. ASMR. So that's quite a nice dark color. So not a base coat, but it should work. It's very dark. Try it on these guys. Just to differentiate the greens a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks almost looks like the old goblin color that they used to have. So whenever I first started back in 2008, right when I got my first model. It was Skull Pass. I remember to stick my Instagram in the description because I actually think I forgot. There is a couple pictures on my Insta of I rebought Skull Pass Dwarves and then painted them up and then compared them like side by side with like the first models I did whenever I first got the Dwarves from Skull Pass. Oh yeah, this looks great by the way. No, it's almost the same color as green stuff, but it looks really nice on like a scout cloak. I wish I had this whenever I did my rangers. Mike picking that up. It's very cozy. I'm sitting in my garage. Got some lo-fi beats on. It's raining. Painting. This is nice. Even if this doesn't get a lot of views, I might do this a couple times just while I'm painting. Yapinating the Yapinator 4000. Chilling. Generally, when it's a bit funny, the underside like this, yeah, you can't even really see it. I just kind of just lightly paint the underside. I don't go whole hog into it. Give it enough that if someone was to tilt the model, they could tell, oh, the underside's painted. If you haven't painted the underside, you've been very lazy. And got a nice dark green coat. I actually like this for their cloaks more. I think I might just do all the cloaks like this color green. And that's good because this is a test for the Wood Elves, so I know what cloaks look nice with what green. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice differentiation between that dark green. See there. Be very. Well, the one problem I think we're gonna have forever is like, or so you can see like the differentiation between the two colors. So like here and here, just looks quite nice. I do toot my own horn. Good shout me for going and getting that different color of green. Once again, green is a very easy color to work with. If anybody has like a full green army, you're like, wow, that looks really good. You'd know green is probably the easiest color to work with in Warhammer and painting in general, I think. Easiest color. Technically, if you think about green, the easiest color to see, the way your eyes work is you pick up green easier than any other color. You can actually see more shades of green than much any other shade of color, I think. So, don't quote me on that, I'm not a biologist, I could be wrong on that, but I think that's true. No, it's definitely the easiest color to see, that bit. That. Sure about the shades of green. I think that's also true. And paint for green, for whatever reason, is the very easiest paint to ever apply. So if you're starting out with Warhammer, not sure what to do a green color scheme. It'll always look nice. Start with orcs and just dip the whole bottle in green. It'll look amazing. It'll be really easy to do. Orcs are probably good for painting. Orcs are a very good color. Or a good army to start with, just because, yeah, there's obviously their skin is green, and you can kind of learn. The models for orcs are really nice. They have very nice detail on them, even like 40k orcs have like nice big muscles and quite well defined and well sculpted. That's everybody. Great. I'm gonna put them on backwards so I can remember if I did their cloaks or not, but yeah, everybody's cloak. We're actually nearly done with this. Is the painting we have gold, and then these colors. I think I'm going to do this one. Try it out for the shield, and then grey. And I don't think I'm going to give anybody a white beard, so we won't be doing that today. I think I'm going to do blonde, brown, and black. Finish up the armor trims. And this is the last bit of blue we'll need. Sometimes you can paint their helmets like a solid color, like this guy's got a green helmet. I like bringing this guy out just because. But yeah, so this guy's a yellow and green boy. He's got a green helmet. I should have done a blue helmet. To be honest, the blue on the shield. Good. So A good tip is if you like having a lot of color variation, like this, dwarves are another good army to pick because again they sort of suit having a nice little variation of colors between their duders, and in lore and just sort of on the tabletop because they're so short and the hair and it's quite a lot of earthy colors. So having a bit of diversity with it means it's more visually interesting. But what was the point I was making? Oh yeah. It's a good idea when you're painting stuff like this, come up with one unifying color between the armor. So for me, it's the blue on the shield. The warriors is the unifying color. I don't know what I'm going to do for. I have some iron breakers to do, and they might have. I might do their unifying color being their armor color, and have them have their differentiating color be their shield is fucking bright. Whenever your brushes get old, they sort of stop hold. They don't hold water the same way. You just like go to put the paint on even after you think you've dried it, and then there'll be a big dollop of water, bristles that just ruins the paint you just put on. Doesn't look too bad. Blue's a nice dark color, so you apply it lightly over grey. Actually, does cool. You've effectively done the shading if you do it that way. Contrast paints, pretty much that's more or less how they work. A little bit more technical. If you're interested in paint theory, be interested. Good to know some stuff because it helps you paint better, but for the most part, you don't really need to. I think I want red though. Red might be nice. I think I want to use this darker color for their beards. This is going to be the horn fang, isn't it? Yeah, it's going to be the leather. That might be beard color, and I might go get a reddy brown. Do the undercoat, put it under their armor just to break up. See here, getting good. I'm getting good at this. I nearly had that right centered. You see here, this bit here. Boot. So I can either paint them the same color brown for the leather, or do a reddy brown on this. That dark leather brown for that. Make it look a bit more consistent. Not break it up too much. Guy doesn't have a lot of leather. Green. You ever just do that and you notice the bit you missed? You can either come back at the end and tidy it up, or because realistically, it's like such a small bit there that I missed. Like how tiny this is. Assumed that was hair, and this brush is fucking soaking. But again, green's also like quite dark. Green and blue. Some people don't like working with blue. I actually think blue's. I think blue and green are the better colors to use. Red is a very good color. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm quite good with red. Painting of it, I've quite a lot of use out of red, so I can, with the same base coat, I can make 3 different shades of red, which is cool. Was I talking about? Oh yeah, leather. So we'll do the base leather, and then I'll get that reddy brown. I wonder to do. Actually, let me have a. Yeah, I'll do the norm first. Okay. Wondering if it was maybe better to do it the other way around, but I think the right way around to do it. So part of the skill of painting is correctly identifying the order that you're painting this stuff. It does unfortunately sometimes make it feel like you're painting a coloring book, the way you split it up, but it is the easiest way to think about it. Do it in that order. Of course, it's a little more chaotic than that. There's a little more thought put into it than just like 1, 2, 3. Fuck this brush. First, I might just swap this smaller. This one is not playing ball today. I don't know what's up. That was 2. It's good. 1 is a little bit frayed. I need a new set of brushes. I might get one for. This should hopefully not be holding like a liter of water and the bristles. Getting this painting done though. So he doesn't have a whole lot of brown on him. Mostly just his little booties. Check his helmet. Nah, he's like all hair. Okay. I always miss the leather phase is like the bit I always fuck up with. Again, you want like a nice flat. I like the flat and not like a point, but like a nice flat edge. I think it's slightly easier to control with a flat edge than a point. I do know a lot of people prefer points. I just think the paint coverage is a bit. Yeah, I try to do that. The paint them all with the same color. For the most part, it is better. But it is what I was saying. It does sort of turn into what's the word? Like paint by numbers, like color scheme thing, you know? The way it always figures out. But yeah, saves time. You're alright. But I'm not too fussed. If I notice a mistake, I don't know, it bothers me. But I can't stop thinking about it, and then I make more mistakes. So the way, that's just certainly the way I am. For me, it's if I notice something's missing, I'll try and finish up on that model what the color is, then I'll swap paints. To me, it's alright taking a little bit extra time on it, but I know what you mean. You don't want to be here forever. You want to play a fucking game at some point, you know? Guy with the straps. Coming together well. Got a bit of leather there. Time on, so we'll just get the inside of his cuff. This is gonna be there's no way I can show this on camera. Just have to take my word for it. It is neat. Then let's see, what other leather does this boyo have? Some on his helmet. Flatten that out. Yeah, we don't have to be too careful around here because his face. I'm just going to cheat and use contrast. I hate painting flesh. Kill him in flesh. Dwarves with a little bit of a lighter highlight is generally quite nice. That is it for his leather. Actually, hold on. Does he have a bag? Let's see. Oh, beard decoration. Go steal one. There we go. This boyo did have more leather on him. He had a fucking. This is what I mean. Get so absorbed in one bit, you forget the other. So, beard decoration there for the leather cuff holding his beard together. There we go. That's it. This guy has a grim and a little cuff. We could maybe do that bronze or something just to break it up later on. They're not all got little leather straps holding their beards. Booty. He has a little leather thing on his hat and boot, and that is him. Oh, and he's a leather cuff. The others all had, yeah. Okay. One more booty. I always make sure to do the boots because the boots are the bit I always forget. I'm like going over. I'll have painted the entire fucking thing. I'll have all 5 of them done, and then I'll go back. There'll be one per fucker that has a grey boot. Every time. Every time. Apologies if I react. Just being careful around that silver bit we painted earlier. Right. Brush is a bit dry, so the paint's not coming off. Wet. Yeah. Skipping the test part just because I'm nervous. I'm in front of people who are watching me. In there. Yeah, I've definitely got a problem. I don't know. I tried to start a Beastman army. It's not the Dwarf army box. This is just some warriors that I had. So I bought these like years ago and never painted them. My old world's back. I rebased them and all. So my dwarf army is like an original dwarf army that I made years ago. That's just been rebased and finally painted. They were spray tied before. So I have a bunch of stuff. I have so there I've got more iron breakers, iron drakes, and the new king on the shield. And comes with that. He's the and a grudge thrower. He's all painted, but yeah, it's not a box or anything. It's just I bought these. These are just things that I didn't have in my collection, so I was like, I'll just buy them. And these are some old warriors that I never actually bothered painting. I like the throne bearer king. I really like. Though I will say, for the price of the model, it's not very. It is good. I do like it, but it's definitely not worth the price of it. It was definitely a one-off treat for myself. This fucking brush. Island minis. Oh yeah. They're. I think I've seen them. They're like they're not fantasy, but they're like the Celts and stuff. They do like traditional, like in more proper wargaming stuff, right? Not the Games Workshop stuff. Not sword and fantasy. It's more historical battles. I think I've looked at a couple of them. There's some head swaps I think I was contemplating getting, but nothing I've ever actually pulled the trigger on. One more leather. Oh, yeah, the other side of the strap. Then, you know what? We'll have his be gold red. I thought there was. I could have swore there was a guy that had a bag. You, it's you. You have the bag going in my hand. Oh wow. Shield, no. Sorry, my monitor is very far away, so it's kind of hard. I should have made it bigger. Oh, pretty cool. I have like, I think I've only ever bought two white dwarf issues. One, well, I didn't even buy the first one. The first one I got with the pin. First one I got with the Battle for Skull Pass stuff. Way back in the day, whenever I was a spry wee lad. Those sculpts, I absolutely love Skull Pass. I think I love the goblins and the original dwarfs. I have a side by side my painting, how it's grown up from when I first started to now, that I have, because I bought another dwarf set of the Skull Pass stuff a while ago, just before Old World came out, and I have like a side by side of like my original painting for Old World and my like how my recent painting come along. It looks really good. Oh well, I'll write that down. I'll have a look at that later. Thank you. What are we left? So that was Mornfang, right? Done with that. Rhinox. This, maybe some. That will be beard. Rhinox will be. 2 seconds. I'll grab a different shit. This is Vallejo Cavalry brown, so this will be a nice reddy brown. I punched my table a bunch. We won't need a whole lot. Easier to add more than this. Right? This brush can be a really fast layer, I think. It's going to be the little armor bits. Little like weird under flap they have of armor. Still past guys don't have this. We should have red. Oh nah, I think it looks fine. It'll look darker when it dries, and it'll look darker again when a war. Actually, not a bad shade. You could use this for beard hair. That's yeah. They only have 30 dwarves to paint. Well, another little extra there with the grey tight stuff, but all the stuff I have base coated at the minute. 30 dwarves. I have a gyro bomber to paint. And you know, guys, leather flaps. Cavalry brown while we've got it out. Yeah, break up the models a little bit, which is nice. Yeah, I've got fair few dwarves to get through. And oh god, I don't know. The curse of being a mini wargamer is you see like your eyes are always bigger than your stomach. Easy to buy stuff, takes forever to paint it. Especially the way I paint, it takes forever. This is just a little test amount for streaming. Usually whenever I'm on my own and I'm not yapping, get there a bit more because I'm slightly more focused. This might be a fun little thing to try. Pick it up. I usually play World of Warcraft stuff. Oh yeah. The boxes are actually, the battalion boxes are so good, especially if you can get them like on discount as well. So I got the Wood Elf one. I got the Wood Elf one on 15% discount, so I think I got it instead of like 110, I got it for 88 quid. Really good, and then I bought like an extra 20 quid on some characters. So the battalions are really good value, especially if you're up for like kit bash and stuff. Yeah, base coated is like the minimum I think for like a table. I would agree with you. Or like being allowed to play it. I really hate playing anything that even is just like spray painted. It always makes me feel, you know, a little bit wick. They always do things like, oh, you get a special amount of points if you watch your army. A nice little rule, just motivate people, but very nearly done with the base coat anyway. It broke 2 hours and we're on the Skyrim Loaf, I think. Actually quite like this reddy color in the undercoat. Very, very striking. The drab color that you get with the dwarves. I said before, but my theme is that red is more like a my army. It's something more like the professionals use, so like the engineers and stuff will wear red leather armor, and like the cannon crews. You know what? I like this so much, Reggie. Having it be like a little undercoat that these guys are wearing sort of gives them. Obviously, this isn't the same shade of red, but it gives a nice feel that they might be like craftsmen. I always like sort of thinking about the story of my dudes. I think the your dude style of Warhammer is like by and far the best. Think about it. Oh well, it's a very, very small amount of paint boot to go there, but that up. Wash will. Yeah, we're just gonna do a wash, I think, and then sort of very, very slight layer highlight. But we probably won't get that done today. What time is it? 4 o'clock. Probably another hour or so, maybe, if even. Again, I really like this color, so I'm just fucking everywhere. It's a good call. It was a good decision. Nice little shader for the leather. I put way too much on. It's how Vallejo make their money. Oh, Space Wolves, yeah. What do you get off Temu? Do they have? I didn't know they did models. It's crazy. That's the new lion then as well. He came out this year. He was last year, wasn't he? I have. Hold on. I don't think he's base coded yet. No. Apologies. Oh, my mic. My mic's in a very precarious position. I have. I have UK Johnson magnetizes it. What did the why the fuck have I done this? Oh, the magnet fell out of his other. I can't put that sword at the minute. I have. Was magnetized, but I think the magnet got. Have A line ready to go. Little diorama. I also got 30k Constantine Baldor diorama too. Magnet fella. Oh, yeah, I keep saying 40k. The 30k stuff is. Oh, I've had from the Custodes. The only like full army I have painted at the minute is Custodes. Is everything else I just buy it for. Don't need. Then you get halfway through painting it and you lose interest and go on to something else. I'm trying to focus on the dwarves, get them all finished before I go too hard on anything else. I just said I have a bunch of wood elf stuff, but dwarves are the priority at the minute before I start any wood elf stuff. That was test stuff. 30k stuff. I don't know. I got that as a present a while ago, and then haven't been. Just before, well before that line came out. Like official stuff on Teamery then, like 10 quid for Land Raider, and then 9 for 12. I'll have to have a look. I didn't even know that they had. Is it like the Chinaman knockoff stuff that I used to see like years ago, like the what was it, like the reprinters? Them. You could get like someone who could do it. They would just print you like the sprues and stuff for like 50p. They were all like all the Games Workshop stuff was. That's where they printed. Although the plastic was in China, so. Right, will do. I will indeed check that here. That'd be good. I can move that before I put my elbow in. My Necrons are actually almost finished. Right. Definitely have to have a check just to see, because if you can get it, if you can get Warhammer cheap, yeah. Like I use we're just doing gold now, just for some of the Grims and stuff. Jewelry that they have. Oh, he has a little bit. Yeah, what I usually do is I go on. I don't know if you're based in the UK or not, but Alchemist Workshop is like a UK based one. It's the one I use a lot. They're very good for. Actually, could leather back. Yeah, they're the ones I would usually go for, and then sometimes Goblin minis. They get like official stuff for like But if you get a Land Raider for 10 quid, I would probably just sort of test it out. Like, what are you losing? A tenner? Who cares? Or like $10, even cheaper. In the UK, that'd be like 10 bucks, £9.80 or something. 10 quid, pretty much. Holland, yes, 10 quid. That's good. So yeah, you can try Alchemist Workshop is a good one if you want like official stuff. Like 15% off, I think, a lot of the official things. It's usually where I get from. The other one I've got, because they don't do Infinity minis. Infinity is a fucking Infinity. To get it, like the best place to get Infinity is on, ironically, eBay. You get like a 20 to 30% discount on eBay. I mean, for 10 quid, like by the time you're on your third one, you should maybe consider, because it would be the same price as just buying even like a 15% off one. Though I think whenever I bought a Land Raider from like my brothers, when I got him a Land Raider for Christmas one year, I think it was like 40 quid, something like that. But I have no clue what they are now. I don't even care anymore. It's rubbish. Like the prices for 40k are so bad. Like that's AliExpress. I'll try to remember that. Infinity, it's a nightmare to find it, but when you do, it's usually already discounted as well. Because I got that's how much they cost now, 80 quid. Fuck. And it's the same kit too. It's not even like it's Land Raider kit. That some of the pricing on some of the new stuff is insane. The new what is it? The new Tomb King stuff, the Lord and the Lord on foot and the Lord mounted. It's like nearly fucking 60 quid for two models, one of which is on a horse. Yeah, I'll have to have a look, because that's crazy. If it's like, I wouldn't have even thought to look at Timu for, Warhammer stuff, but I suppose that makes sense, because everything, isn't it? It's like their version of, it's not their version, but it's like a version of my brains just went blank. I can't remember. Like cheapo garbo shit. Like I don't even fucking remember what it was I was thinking of. Just completely dropped my train of thought. Yeah, so just like, cheap houseware stuff for like B&M. Like going into uh Home Bargains or something. I don't know if you have that in Scotland. We have it here in Northern Ireland. Like a bargain shop, and they have like branded stuff for like pretty cheap. It's not like it's knockoff. It's just really out of date or fell off the back of a lorry, or it's just cheap Chinese shit. Being you probably being a I love the little steel face that they have on everything. Kind of like they have this. What do you think? That's, yeah, fuck, 150 for that. And like on official, was that like almost? That's probably almost close to 300 or something. Fuck me, that's great. like I remember being like young. You know, you're young and you're trying to like, how do I get more Warhammer stuff? It's like super expensive. You're like looking up everything. You go on every corner of the website, and then you hear rumors about the the based Chinaman who will like sell you the reprints from the factory and like the off sculpts and stuff for like 50p, but it's like impossible because you have to get them to ship it to you and shit. Oh god, it's the I miss the Wild West days of the internet whenever it was all wild. Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there was a guy, a Russian guy, on YouTube ages ago, and he was selling Tyranid prints that were the old. Do you know the way they did that whole new line for 10th edition? They replaced a bunch of the older stuff. All the old stuff this guy had, like he scanned it in STLs, like just made STLs of like the older models that aren't in print anymore. And he just had that on his YouTube, like just him showing the files and like where to download them and shit. Just some random Russian man. I have to see if I can find his like the old Ravagers and stuff, you know, like the Burrowing dudes. Wish, ah, God, it would have been great if I'd have grown up with a 3D printer. Finding that close to being done. Yeah, yeah. A lot of the old stuff, I think Games Workshop just don't really care about, like the discontinued stuff. Obviously, they'll probably still go for their bottom line, but if you could find it, you could probably get the old Forge World Chaos Dwarf stuff is so cool. I love like Infernal Guard and everything, like those old prints. They're so nice looking, like the little round helmets and stuff. Sure, you could probably. I'll have to have a look, but it sounds like they might have stuff like a lot of the old sort of discontinued res stuff because that was all. I think the reason that a lot of that stuff they discontinued is because they wanted to produce it in the UK instead. It's easier for them to sort of. Right? I'm getting a call. I don't know who that is. I'm just gonna. Unknown number. Unknown number texted me the other day. Said hello. And that was it. Just hello. Naturally, makes you panic. You're like, oh shit, who's got my fucking info now? Some some call center's gonna ring me non-stop for the next 2 days. There you go. That's probably what that number is. Yeah, I am using a phone as my. It's not. Just me. I just have to make sure. I almost fell for that once. The uh, they rang me saying, "Oh, we're from your SIM provider." I think I was with. I'm still with three, so they're ringing me pretending they were with three. And I kept saying, I don't know how I fell for it because they've done it before, and I went, "No, I'm with Vodafone," and then they would go, "Oh no, no, well this offers with Vodafone as well," and then the next time they rang, and I must have just forgot, but they said, "Oh yeah, we're with three. We're going to get you a better SIM. You do X, Y, and Z," and you just talk to them. Then I got a message on my phone that was like someone's trying to access your Google account. And I was like, "What the fuck?" And then hung up immediately. I was like, "What?" I couldn't believe that I'd been so stupid and like fell for for that long to the point where they're like, "Oh, this guy's fucking Google." I don't even know how they got it because I definitely didn't say my Google address or anything. I have no clue how they know what sim I'm on, what my Google address is. Like I don't even at this point I don't even fucking take. If someone rings up and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're with," I've got my phone off Carphone Warehouse. Like I don't even think Carphone Warehouse exists anymore, but I used to get calls from people saying they were with Carphone Warehouse. I would just hang up on them. Like, yeah, I don't care. Not upgrading my phone. Whenever I want it, I'll look for it. And fuck off, mate. Okay. Double check and make sure it's fine. Hate that shit. One time my grandparents got like, because obviously they're looking for old people. My grandparents got like scammed and they changed their fucking internet provider somehow. I don't even know how it fucking happened. Like my dementia riddled grandmother managed to somehow change their and get their internet swapped over on a scam call. It was so fucking hassle. Change that shit back because I don't even know how it happened. Obviously, you deal with the aftermath, but someone just convinced her, like, "Oh yeah, you need better internet. We'll give you better internet." It's like, what the fuck does a 70-year-old woman need high speed internet for? You know. And oh, it drives me mad whenever people scam, especially old people. Like go and get their like old contract with BT back as well. That was a whole ordeal. Sugar drop. We are. That's pretty much all the colors. I don't. I was going to do a darker color, but fuck it. I think we'll get the beards done. Will we get the beards done? I'm trying to think now. Selling dreadnoughts. So, with my blood sugar going low, I think we're almost what after 2. I think that's the whole base coat done. So next is the null and oil wash. Maybe take a picture and pop it up on Instagram or something. I need to link my Instagram in the description. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end the stream here and then go get some food to sort myself out. So that'll do. Yeah, thanks for watching. Let me just pick up the mic. This is a little more intimate. But yeah, that's gonna be me for today. I think I'll stream. I'll do another wee paint stream next week, I think. Fucking hell, is that what the chat looks like? It's very stretched out. Hold on, let me fix that now. I will. Timu and Ali. Why does the chat look so stretched? Shouldn't be. I've now fucked this. Right, thank you for the recommendations. I will check those out just to see if there's any cool cheap shit I can grab off for Warhammer and stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching. I will stream again probably next Tuesday. I might do Thursday, but definitely next Tuesday. We'll see what if I've got time on Thursday. But yeah, thanks for watching.